I am going to talk to you today about 3 things that are on my professional secrets playlist. I have a whole playlist of videos of things that I think are really helpful and things that have really helped me in my professional research. I've completed over 250 projects for clients, and so I've learned a few things through those experiences. So you can check out my channel if you would like to see more of these topics in more detail or some of the other videos. Anyway, so let me get on with my 3 things that I think will really help you in your genealogy research, some little tips from a pro. My first one that I'm going to talk about is a video that I did if you want to hire a professional genealogist. My recommendation is to think about what it is that you need your help with specifically. And then, this is the really important thing, gather your information. Gather everything that you need to present to the genealogist, because time is money. And if I'm spending a lot of time getting documents for somebody, I'm wasting their money if they already have them. So make sure you pull together the documents that you have, all of the information that you have. If it's information that you have in your family, I don't care where it's from, but gather that information together. Now, do I want the documents for your entire family tree? No, because again, time is money. And if I'm spending time going through documents that don't really pertain to our research question, then that's not going to help either. I would suggest really focusing on the documents of the individual. Like if you want to find somebody's parents that was born in 1800, I want all the documents on that guy that was born in 1800. And I also want to know about his children. I don't need every one of their documents. I don't need that, but I want to know who the children are, and then maybe a listing of the information that you have, unless you have something that really pertains to possibly their grandparents, right? So keep that in mind. Keep your documents to a minimum in that you focus on that research question, but make sure you provide the researcher everything that you've got. And the more organized you are, the easier it's going to be for them to go over the information and do better work for you, and again, give you more bang for your buck. So that's my first tip on hiring a professional genealogist. My second tip is not how to hire a genealogist or anything pertaining to that. It's about doing it yourself. What are some of the things that you need to do when you're hitting some of those brick walls, the things that I ended up seeing as a professional genealogist, or that maybe things that you might want to hire a professional genealogist to do, but you want to try it first, which is great. So if you want to try to get through your brick walls, the first thing that I would tell you to do is learn how to play with deeds. Deeds are a wonderful thing. I've done a video called Dive into Deeds. If you have not looked at deeds and other land records, then you are missing out on all kinds of information that you could be using for your family history. Let me show you a couple of clips from my video to help you see what I'm talking about the importance of deeds. So why deeds? Why bother? Because quite frankly, they're legal documents that can be hard to understand and hard to read, and sometimes they can be a little bit frustrating. There are days when I feel like all I do is look at deeds and probate records, and I get tired of looking at that cursive writing. But they're worth it. So let's talk about why. First off, deeds give you locations. They tell you where somebody's land is, but they also tell you, in not all deeds, but in most deeds, they tell you where the person was residing when they purchased or sold the land. So sometimes deeds can be that clue to get you from one place to another. But you also want to know what they owned and where they owned it, because it helps you understand your ancestor better, right? So that's a great way to find out a little bit more about where they lived. You can map it. You can go visit that location, which I've done before and is really fun. And you can just kind of stand in the place that your ancestors worked, the land that your ancestors worked. It's pretty powerful. 2, deeds oftentimes indicate relationships. Deeds will sometimes flat out say, I am selling this to my son or my daughter or my grandson or my granddaughter. And that it's awesome, particularly when we're back in a time when we don't have a lot of things that provide informational relationship. One of the other relationship things that you find in deeds all the time is a wife's name. And so often when we move back in time, we get lots of information about the men, but we don't get a lot of information about the women. So deeds are super duper helpful when we're talking about something like that. One of the other things that you'll oftentimes see in deeds are their neighbors in two different ways. Sometimes the description of the property says that the property goes from here to here and it adjoins so-and-so's property. Sometimes you'll see the names of family or neighbors in the witnesses of a deed or other legal instrument. So that's two ways to get great information on your fan group. What fan groups is friends, associates, and neighbors. So now that you know a little bit more about why you want to be looking at deeds, I'm hoping this kind of gives you the impetus to go ahead and give it a shot. I'm really surprised at how many people that I've talked to that have been doing genealogy for a long time, that have been researching their family for a long time, that have really not gotten into any deeds or land grants or any of that information. And honestly, it is through land records or other types of deeds that I frequently break through brick walls. So give deeds a try. All right, my third and last recommendation for you for my Professional Genealogy Secrets playlist is old newspapers. Now, there's a lot of really great newspaper sites out there, and I have some other videos on different newspaper sites and ways to look at newspapers and things like that. But there's one little secret that a lot of people don't know about, and it's all about using the Chronicling of America newspaper site. Now, maybe you've been on that site before, and it's a great site. You can search by name like you would on newspapers.com or some of the other newspaper websites. But the thing that's kind of hidden that a lot of people don't know about is that website can clue you into what newspapers were published during the time that your ancestor was in a particular area and where those papers are held if they exist. And that's huge because it was frequently those little papers that were the Facebook or Instagram of the day. And you would have little notices in local papers saying that so-and-so was getting a visit from their brother who lives in blah, blah, blah. And that can be gold to you. So newspapers are a great resource. They give us lots of information, particularly as we go back further in time when we have a lack of other records. All right, well, I hope this has been helpful to you. I hope you've really enjoyed learning some of my professional secrets. Thank you for watching. Visit my channel and have a great day.